Hi guys, Martin Curry from Belief Media. The date today is 13th of June 2025, the time about 3:15 p.m. A few days ago I posted into a Facebook group that is not connected with us in any way, and it was in response to an individual that was seeking some answers on loan market groups, LMGs, MyCRM software in particular in relation to their API and the application of the API and the limitations and functionality and so on. Now the only reason I posted, because my post was in conflict with the general tone of the thread, if you like, and I think I rubbed somebody the wrong way um, um, because I was posting competing information, I guess. I tend to have opinions that are diametrically opposed to a lot of individuals within the industry, particularly dinosaurs. And certainly I practice a form of radical candor in these environments. I just say what I mean. Like, I don't beat around the bush. It's the opposite of ruinous empathy, which is the Kamala Harris word salad nonsense that doesn't actually provide an answer. It's just a whole lot of fluff. And that's what I was seeing in this thread. Now, where I was posting and who I was posting to and the sub-aggregation group and all that stuff is utterly irrelevant for the story, and it's not important. What is important is a guy from this particular sub-aggregation group contacted me about 8 weeks ago, and he'd sought some guidance from some people in that organisation on API implementation, and he'd then called in a developer to build something and paid $16,000. It was 50-50, so half now, half up on delivery. And it had taken him 4 months, and he called me up, this is 8 weeks ago, and said, look, I've got this problem. Have you encountered it before? And he found us through a search on Google. And I built him a solution in 30 minutes over the telephone that was more functional than the system that he was having built. That was in 30 minutes. And I think a lot of the time, brokers gravitate towards solutions that aren't ideal. They fork out money for stuff that doesn't work, and it's just part of the attitude that permeates within the industry. But this came from people within the sub-aggregation group where they'd made this recommendation. And they'd made this recommendation without having an understanding of the technology. So what am I doing about it? All right. And by the way, since I made that post in the thread, literally five guys have called me to ask for some advice on stuff, and every single one of them was kind of told it's too difficult, the API is not capable, and whatever else, when of course that wasn't the case. And it irritated the crap out of me that these poor brokers are making decisions on the back of really infantile and just lacking technological advice. You know, if you want advice on an API, you go to one of the dozen developers in Sydney that has a really, really good understanding of it, and there's a bunch in Brisbane. There's guys all over the country that deal with this stuff, but you need to get advice from professionals. So what am I doing? Okay, I think it's the 27th or the 28th. I think that's a Friday and Saturday of this month. Having spoken to 5 guys that have called me, expressing sort of similar concerns, all had invested some cash. That's the problem. All of them had invested cash into a solution that didn't work for them, when it's a piece of cake. It's an out-of-the-box approach, but they didn't know that. So I got talking to all of them about the different types of applications with MyCRM's API. Right? It's not ideal, it's got limitations and so on, but all you have to do is build a bridge. You have to build workarounds, which is a piece of cake. You know, any competent developer can build these sort of workarounds in probably 5 or 10 minutes. It's not like it's a challenge. It's just you have to understand how the system works. And what I decided to do is hold a small event, right? All these 5 guys are coming, 3 in Sydney and 1 in Brisbane and 1 in Melbourne. They've all committed right now, which means we've got 3 spots left. And all I'm going to do is spend 4 to 6 hours. We're unsure of how long the day will go. I think I might extend it out a little bit because there are a couple of guys traveling, so they're going to be here anyhow. So I'm going to teach you how to use the API, and I'm going to give you all the scripting and tools necessary to integrate tools such as Power Automate, and how to sync between all systems of any type, and how to engage one guy in particular who's dealing with a multifaceted, so a layered licensing system. And he needs to understand how he can manage that, which we've done 100 times. So I'm going to provide that. But more than anything, I want to talk about just how to integrate basic Power Automate tools, because if you understand that, you can generally circumvent most of the limitations that might exist. and we obviously invest heavily into the Microsoft ecosystem. So Power Automate becomes one of those tools. If you're unsure of what Power Automate does, by the way, to interrupt myself, it's a Microsoft tool that provides kind of automation tasks throughout the entire Microsoft suite. Also has push notifications, such as effectively submitting a form and so on. But it integrates both with online data, so cloud data, and desktop data. So you can install Power Automate on your desktop and sync all your CRM software to a spreadsheet on your machine, or build tables and graphs on the basis of real-time data that's being pulled in real time. There's no real limits to what you can do with Power Automate, because once you've got the data, you can obviously do anything with it. And I thought that would be a good place to start, because a lot of what I see LMG brokers in particular struggle with is how to access that data and make it available to other systems within their tech stack, so within their environment. And Power Automate is just a middleman tool. It cuts out the need for developers 99% of the time. It's essentially free. You obviously need the Microsoft 365 subscription. I think there are professional tiers of Automate, but that's irrelevant, because you can apply all the free stuff very easily. But I think most importantly is brokers still use excuse me, various layers of desktop-based software. That's spreadsheets and Word documents and templates on their machine and everything else, and that can be automated. So all those spreadsheets that you use, and there's double data and all sorts of stuff, there's no end to the kind of stuff that brokers use on their desktop. But 99% of that can just be automated through available tools. Now, Automate is evolving. I was going to create a video yesterday or the day before on NVIDIA's, that's the graphic card PC manufacturer, NVIDIA's self-hosted AI solution, which I see as being a future for AI, particularly for private networks where there's a need to keep data sensitive, because you can give these AIs access to your entire PC, your entire network, and it can feed itself off the information locally without having to feed that information to a public AI that has SPAC attacks and everything else. I think Power Automate will go the same way, particularly with Copilot, which is already integrated into Automate, but Copilot itself is quite a good tool powered by ChatGPT, and it is capable of doing some incredible things that the industry hasn't even thought of yet. And we're slowly drip feeding some of this functionality into the broker ecosystem, because it's confronting and it's different and so on, but it does negate the need to have back-end office staff most of the time. And I mentioned in videos, like probably the first time 3 or 4 years ago, and then again and maybe a year ago, where we're moving to an environment where most, if not all, of broker functions can be replicated or replaced by AI, and I think we've reached that point almost, except nobody I say nobody's doing it, but there are some people doing it. Unfortunately, the fraudsters are the ones that are taking full advantage of AI tech. Again, we talked about that maybe 6 or 12 months ago, and the technology is just freely available now. So anyway, so Power Automate is evolving in a really seriously significant way, and I think that's going to be an absolutely incredible tool. We've obviously seen previews of what is coming, maybe in 3 to 6 months on Automate, and it is mind-blowing. So what some of the software systems are capable of within the Microsoft ecosystem is amazing. Now, coming back to the MyCRM API, at the moment I'm just dealing with MyCRM's API, because we had a bunch of guys call me just for solutions in relation to that. And I'm going to show you all these guys encountered roadblocks, and throughout the session that we hold, and it will probably be again closer to 6 hours, 2-3 hour sessions, I will talk about the roadblock and how to overcome it. Now, each solution takes about 3 to 5 minutes to overcome. That's the problem. And look, it's the same with Connective's API. Sales Tracker API is quite good. Connective or Nexus is quite good. It's on par, I guess, with MyCRM. Most software systems have an API. I don't like it when brokers are forced to pay for access to the API, so pay for access to their own data. That should be part of a software solution. You're paying a subscription fee for a reason, and I'd like to see some of the aggregators sort of ease up on their API fees, because it's just absurd that brokers should have to pay to access their own data in a raw machine format. Anyway, that's beside the point. So if you'd like to come, there will be a couple of spots, but there's only a couple of spots. Unfortunately, it's either going to be at, for no particular reason, Liverpool Catholic Club, because they have a small room that I've used before, or Willowdale Hotel, which is always good because they've got a little offer there. It will be free, but we're all going to chip in, I think, $60 or something for the room, and that includes meals and unlimited drinks for the evening. So when I say free, it's my time for free, but the room will cost us, and I'm burdening those that attend with the fee. And it's probably going to be about $60 or something. It's not very expensive. But anyway, I could talk about this stuff forever, but I'm not, because I'll just waffle on more than I already have. Guys, if you're interested in API integration or software integration, for the most part, Yabba handles that, and it is integrated with Microsoft by default. There's a new Microsoft integration facility rolling out next Thursday, which effectively turns Microsoft Planner, again, a free tool that's part of your $7 subscription, it turns it into a CRM. But no one's going to use it. It's beside the point. So yeah, venture out, have a look at Yabba. Certainly check out our website. We're having a special this weekend, so Friday, Saturday and Sunday, next 3 days, we're having a massive special on our website. I'm not going to tell you the price because it'll piss people off that have already bought it. So give me a call, text me for any reason at any time, 0400 777 300. Our office number 1300 235 433. That's 1300 Belief, or you can visit our website at beliefmedia.com.au. Take care, guys. Bye bye.